Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS News stream. I hope you guys enjoyed that video there, the very first in my new tutorial series for the JF-17. Frantic, as always, is first. Hello Frantic, hello Storm, hello Stevie B, hello Byron, hello Tog. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. That's how to start up a JF-17. This begins my series on that aircraft. The next video next week is going to be about taxi, takeoff and navigation. I'll also carry out a landing in the aircraft as well. All very easy things to do. You know, it's a modern aircraft, decent amount of power, it has a flight control system and so on. Frantic has never flown the JF-17. Hello Dave, welcome to the stream. You should fly it, it's a good aircraft. It's very modern, it's very capable, it has some strange limitations because of its budget status, but otherwise very, very cool aircraft. So yeah, like I said, next week we'll continue with that series. In between times, I'm going to be posting the occasional bonus video with regards to the Harrier, but apart from that, I'm on the JF-17 now. Excellent. So, without any further ado, I bring on board the one, the only, the dotChuckles. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Welcome to the stream.
Yes, it's been a little while. It's been a couple of weeks. Real life and work and things like that.
Yes, indeed.
And yeah, oh my God, I am tired.
real life, it's you know, it's a tough mistress. It's something that needs to be serviced.
Yeah. Well, it's right now. It's fucking servicing me. I tell you that.
Well, the stream says hello to you. They welcome you back. The stranger returns, and it's not a tornado.
No, it is not a tornado.
Yes. So, not been a huge amount happening this week. Actually, for the last couple of weeks, not been that much. Although there is one headline item. However, we'll come to that a little bit later. But as always, let's start with Eagle Dynamics' delicious newsletter. Dear fighter pilots, partners, and friends. And our headline here is that the Mosquito FBVI is now available for pre-order. I'm intentionally mispronouncing all of that. It's available for pre-order from our store on Steam with a 30% discount. The Wooden Wonder is multi-crew capable and represents a grand addition to our World War II lineup. So, This is rather exciting. Should I take this opportunity to play the video?
Go ahead, please do.
We'll play the video. Let's see. Oh yeah, we're going to go all black and white. And if I had the volume up, you would hear the rousing kind of World War II kind of nonsense that you always have to have on these kinds of videos.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way these things go. Yeah, actually, it's a pretty looking aircraft. I'm not particularly a fan of the World War II stuff, but I think the Mosquito was a good choice.
Yes, I mean, it's a legendary aircraft when it comes to World War II. I mean, you know, when you think of the great British aircraft, you know, there's in World War II. There's basically four. You've got the Spitfire, you've got the Lancaster, you got the Hurricane, and you got the Mosquito, and then everything else is also appearing. You know, so yeah. It's a very pretty plane. It's monstrously powerful as well. I mean, these things, you know, there's apocryphal stories of it getting nearly transonic. You know, it's
wow.
They are fast. I mean, you got two Merlin engines. The thing's made out of plywood, so it weighs nothing. You know, and funnily, like when you watch sort of, you know, stuff about the Mosquito being made, you know, you look at how it was made and how the parts were molded. You know, there's bits of the process that's like, it's not a million miles off how carbon fiber gets, you know, done. You know, you have a buck and you lay your material over it and then put a resin on it and solidify it, and you know, that's kind of how some of these parts were made.
Okay.
So you know, its manufacturing process was super advanced. I mean, you know,
despite the basic material.
despite the basic material, you can see the I think the origins of composite material aircraft in the Mosquito. And we don't have really many of them left. I don't think we have any surviving flyable ones. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that they're all gone now. So,
well, they mention the model has been built from the original drawings and de Havilland Support Limited, Duxford, to whom we are very grateful. So, yeah, so maybe they don't have any Mosquitoes, but clearly there are some de Havilland aircraft maintained.
So Google to the rescue. There are 30 non-flying Mosquitoes around the world, with four airworthy examples.
Oh my!
The largest collection of Mosquitoes is at the de Havilland Aircraft Heritage Centre in the United Kingdom, which owns 3 aircraft, including the first prototype.
Wow!
So yeah. So indeed, you can hear it fly, and yeah, I mean, 2 Merlin engines. That's going to sound pretty damn spiffy.
And that's the thing. We've not heard any video of. We've not heard what it sounds like in game as yet. So I wonder, have they done that bit yet? Because otherwise, they would be sure to be showing that off.
Well, do you know what? This Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned now that I think about it, because they're announcing the pre-order. But I don't know about you. We did sort of discuss it a little bit. I just found that video a little bit lackluster.
Underwhelming.
Yeah, just a bit like, oh, all right then, okay, couple of seconds of the cockpit, some swoopy flying, and a couple of explosions. You look at the videos that were done for the F-16, announcement. You look at the video for the F-18 and for the F-18 announcement. I mean, the stuff that Heat Blur churn out, just.
I'm just playing in the background the comparison. Now, of course, we're not getting the music, and actually, as I recall, this one had a very stirring quote from some ex-US president, I forget who, talking about, some of you will fly the fastest aircraft that had ever been built, blah, blah, blah. It actually really fitted. It was really, really good. I'm making a point of not playing the audio for these videos, by the way, because we get copyright strikes, so...
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I mean, like it's. Yeah, I'm getting a little kind of. This isn't sitting right with me at the moment. I mean, because like the Mosquito, it's a bit of a childhood favorite of mine. I'm loving the idea that I might get to fly one.
Did you, as I did, build an airfix kit of one?
Do you know I did, actually?
Me too.
I did. And then, like, when I sort of see the video and kind of, it feels like they're obfuscating a couple of things. You know what I mean? Just like, let's not quite show this. It's not quite ready. Like you say, 2 Merlin engines. You bloody want to hear that. And it's like, okay, so the sound set's not ready. Well, that's not exactly a small amount of work. So you're going to pre-release. So unless this is a really, really long pre-release, I'm a little bit concerned.
Yes.
Are you rushing this out?
And of course, they had the big thing about the external model, because this was supposed to be released earlier in the year, but they put a hold on it because they were not satisfied with the external model. And my understanding from reading the newsletters, or reading between the lines, is that they redid the external model because they weren't happy.
Right.
So something has happened during the course of this project, but I would say really, really good that they delayed it. If they were not satisfied, I think that's very, very admirable.
Correct decision, absolutely correct decision. If it wasn't ready, stick it back in the oven until it is.
Yes,
but like just seeing that video and seeing it being really kind of like, you're not really showing much detail here. You know, it's just a bit. This isn't ready. This doesn't feel ready. You know, because if it was, you'd be showing it off.
Very true.
Either that, or they just either that, or they just got somebody a bit shit to do the video.
Yeah. Maybe it was the intern.
yeah, they gave it to the intern on a Friday at 4:00.
Yeah.
Can you do the pre-release video? Oh, fucking alright.
Now, I don't want to say that the video is shit, because I don't think it, like, from a technical standpoint, it's all fine, but it's not rousing. It's not like Eagle have produced some excellent trailers. I think the problem here is that the video is adequate, whereas a lot of their previous trailers have been, just fantastic. So that's the issue, really.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, as somebody who is professionally qualified to comment on these things, I can say it's not good enough.
Yeah.
It's not good enough. You're releasing a major product, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
Try harder.
So for those of you who want to see a good one, play that F-16 trailer that I just played in the background without sound. The music and the kind of quote going on in the background and everything is really quite good. Gets the old blood flowing, makes you want to be a pilot. So it's good stuff.
Yeah. Either somebody was under some big constraints about what they could and couldn't show, or the intern did it.
Blame the intern.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
The thing is like, when the Mosquito comes around, there's going to be some interesting stuff with it, because you'll probably have the Mark. So it's the Type 6, isn't it?
It is FB Mark 6.
Right. So you might have the low-level bomb sight that was fitted. I don't know if that was a later Mark, or if the Mark III bomb sight, which survived into the 50s, it was still being used. They were on Shackletons and stuff like that, which is going to be a whole new thing for people to to play with and get to sort of learn how to use. So
mechanical computers.
There's going to be some really interesting ways that you can use it, and lots of things to do with it, because it was a successful night fighter. It was a pretty successful fighter. They used it to go after
V2s or V1s. I can't remember.
V1s and Me-262s, the German jet fighter.
That's right.
It's going to be a great thing when it arrives. I don't know. Something's not sitting quite right with me about the way this has been announced and the materials around it. It just all feels a little bit lackluster.
Maybe they're very busy with the Apache.
Maybe that's what it is. Yes.
Gotta get the rotor heads right.
Yeah. Maybe they're super busy on the Apache. Yeah, let's hope it's that.
Yes, indeed. Cool. So onwards. We also this week had an open beta update. So Open Beta 2.7.5 has brought the addition of the CBU 105 WICMID, because we have to pronounce acronyms like their words. And for the Viper, radar improvements include the new range while search mode symbology, more accurate detection and tracking ranges and fine corrections of the M120, an auto backup function in the mission editor. This is actually quite good. And a substantial number of other improvements have been delivered to the JF-17 Thunder, the F-18C Hornet, and the F-14A/B Tomcat. And we have a full change log here, as always. Was there anything that jumped out at you, Mr. Chuck?
Well, just stuff we were talking about before we went on air. The new sight for the Hind, which you've been telling me simulates going through the mirrors because...
Let me find that, actually.
Because Eagle Dynamics.
Yes.
I can't see what difference that's going to make. But there we go. That's, unless they've added things like chromatic aberration and...
I don't think they have.
Sort of stuff like that. But if it's... Yeah, if it actually, because it's like, why do it? But there we go. So yeah, there was that. That was the one that sort of like, okay, that's quite a big deal because, I mean, the release implementation of the site on the Hind was perfectly adequate for, you know, early access, all that kind of stuff, but it was a bit spoff, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
well, the main thing for me was that it looked like a low resolution digital display, when in reality it's an optical site. There's nothing digital about it. I've seen pictures of this rework, and in the pictures it looks way more like an optical site than it does like a crappy digital one. So that's nice.
Yeah, and I think as well, like the mask, the optic mask, and the indications on it, they did look like a bit of a, let's just stick a crappy a crappy image with an alpha layer on the top of a viewport, So it was a bit spoff, but I mean, I understand why it went out like that. So the fact that they're now bringing that up to standard, that's good to see. That's good to see. I mean, the wick mid for F-16, it's it's a hell of a weapon.
Yes. We've, of course, had that for many years in the A-10C, but it's nice to see it coming to another aircraft.
No, we didn't. I don't think we had that. We had a similar version that had a similar capability, but I don't think it's that exact same weapon.
CBU 105. We had the exact same one in the A-10.
Was it the CBU 105? Right.
Yeah, the exact same one. Because we also...
Was that not the one that crashed the gate? That crashed DCS if you used it?
At one stage,
never fixed it.
It was either this one or the CBU 95, because the 105 and the 95 are basically the same weapon. The difference is that the 95 is just cluster munitions, whereas the 105 is those pucks that seek out targets. So they're very, very similar weapons. One of them used to crash the game. I do remember that.
Yeah. Those pucks are... I mean, that is witchcraft. Like, I watched a documentary on how it works.
Yeah.
And I mean, they are hockey puck sized. They're not big.
Yeah.
But they have a camera on board,
hanging off the side. In fact, a teeny little digital camera.
Yeah. And they're spinning at an insane speed as well. They're like whizzing round and round and round, and they still lock on and identify the target and then hit it. And I remember they had some footage from one of these cameras that is on a puck, and it's just like, yeah, you'd have to be a computer to understand that.
Yes, yeah, it's just a blur, but they can do it. And the funny thing is, the real one, I don't know how we simulate it in the game, but the real one has a database of signatures for vehicle types, and it will only attack enemy vehicles. It won't attack friendlies. It's like, how did they get it to do that?
And it can recognize civilian vehicles and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna hazard a guess. It's shape, based on shape recognition. I remember reading, I think it was in Red Eagles, which is about the test and evaluation squadron that was at Groom Lake, at Area 51, and basically over the years the US has acquired various Russian hardware, and basically in one of these places, it was out at Tonopah, I think, they had at one point a MiG-29 hanging upside down in a hangar, and the inside of the hangar was basically painted black. So it was just this aircraft, like MiG-19, upside down, hanging in a hangar. And what they did was they introduced a sidewinder seeker head from all sorts of different angles. And basically that was them teaching the program, this is what a MiG-29 looks like from this angle. This is what it looks like from this angle. So it was like basically teaching it all the different aspects of how that aircraft looks. So I reckon there was probably something similar like that, and it probably involved a big building with vehicles painted strange colors.
I can totally imagine that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the CBU-105, the way it works is kind of crazy, because you have this casing. It drops down to a set altitude. I think by default it's like 1,000 or 2,000 feet, I forget, over the target. And then it breaks open, and it has these hard to describe things. They're like these rods with a parachute, and they just gently come down, and then at a certain altitude they spin, and then the little pucks come flying off. They actually jet upwards out of it, spinning, looking for targets, and then firing these shaped charge copper penetrators. It's like, who came up with this? What sort of super genius built this thing?
It's basically a Pez dispenser of death, is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, man, it's yeah. I mean, I have a friend who works for. I'm not going to say. Okay, no, I'm not going to say who they work for. Redacted. But basically, he is involved in developing new systems, and they basically, not a word of a lie, at various occasions they sit down and they talk about sci-fi films they've seen, and they literally go, "Do you think we could do that?"
Yes.
Probably. Should we give it a go? All right. And that's it. That's how they come up with these new things.
Wait, isn't this how Star Trek invented tablet computers?
And the mobile phone.
And the mobile phone. Yeah. People get inspired by this kind of stuff, so it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. No, it's it is literally, that's what they like when for new design concepts. They've taken elements from some films and turned them into some systems. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah. I just want to call something out. Yappy Dog saying CBU-105 looks like cheating. Press the button, all tanks go boom. Precisely what it's designed to do.
That's pretty much what it does.
I mean, it's like 4 aircraft could overfly the battlefield and basically completely wipe out a mechanized advanced. Done. You're just like, yeah, you're finished. And it makes complete sense, because the Doomsday scenario was basically hordes of Russians coming through the Fulda Gap. So it's like, okay, we just turn the Fulda Gap into a valley of death where everything's killed by lethal Pez dispensers,
Yes.
And the numbers that the Soviets would have had, so many tanks. It's like, well, we need to kill like 30 tanks in a pass. How do we do that? So yeah, as a weapon, it makes complete sense. Interesting.
And Tog actually makes an interesting point. Probably not useful against insurgents with technicals. That's probably true.
Probably true. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how it would understand. Like, what is that a civilian vehicle? Can it? It may not register the fact that it's a Toyota Hilux with 50 cal strapped on the roof.
The thing is, if you fire a copper penetrator through the bed of a Toyota, pretty much nothing will happen. The devastating effect of these weapons relies on them penetrating armor and creating spalling and heat inside the tank. So you could hit a Toyota with this and it would probably keep running.
Well, I mean, Top Gear did show us that you can drop a fucking building on a Hilux and it still keeps going. So
yes, yeah, would not be useful. But of course, in these situations, that's when you use normal cluster bombs, and they will be effective.
Yeah. But the thing is, this highlights an interesting point, is that, the US and the West in general, we've been fighting for 20 years against, asymmetrical warfare against insurgents. we should probably start looking at our near peers again, and what systems and how we respond to them. And, certainly things like WICMID is definitely one of the ways that we might do that.
Yes. And the APKWS, it wins the prize for the most ridiculously named weapon, the Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System, which is the laser rockets fitted to the Harrier in A10.
Yeah, and there's the small bore. I don't know if we have it in DCS. The small bore laser guided bomb.
Yeah, the small diameter bomb.
Diameter bomb.
I believe it's coming for the F-16 because it's fielded by the F-16 in real life. I'm pretty sure that is on their roadmap, as I recall. Those are cool because they have these little pop-out wings.
yeah,
they're pretty cool.
It's interestingly, Byron just said disagreeing with our assessment about it not being good on technicals. Probably settings to turn off target discrimination. Yes, I would imagine if I was designing a weapon, that would be something I would want to put in. Yeah. Just fucking kill everything mode.
Yeah, you're probably right. And actually, I don't know, I forget exactly what it does in the situations where it doesn't find targets. Do they just detonate or do they go dud?
I think they detonate because it's one of the few cluster munition weapons that hasn't been hit by the ban. The ban.
That ban, the US never signed up to it, so it kind of doesn't apply.
True, but yeah, I think that's a point. They didn't sign up to it because maiming children playing football, that's fun.
Yeah, the RAF had to get rid of all of its cool weapons because the UK did sign up.
They gave them all to Saudi, who then basically bombed the shit out of civilians with them.
Yes, indeed. Well, anyway, we should continue with the update. What else have we got? In the Harrier from Razbam, we have a completely new implementation of the AFC. I've flown it. It's bloody good, actually. You can now use it way more like it's used in the real aircraft, which is to say that most of the time you leave it turned on and just let the aircraft trim itself. So very, very nice. A bunch of smaller updates there. You got some small quality of life updates to the Mirage or M2000C. Same again for the F-14. Ejection seat safety levers will now animate properly in external view and in the mirrors. It's like the attention to detail that Heatblur have is just mind-blowing.
I know.
There's actually, talking about the F-14, there's been a couple of times when I've flown as Rio with other people, and it blows me away that in VR I can poke my head to the side and look at the pilot's instruments, and they're all accurate. Like I can see the pilot changing HUD modes and fiddling around with his switches and stuff. It's like, Heatblur, how do you do this?
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
So anyway, bunch of quality of life stuff there. Jester will now call out the MiG-28 properly. Very important. Very important.
But nobody's ever been that close to one before, so how do we know it's right?
Small quality of life stuff for the GF-17. Adjusted the pilot's eyes position for the C-101. Interesting. More just small stuff. F-18 Hornet, of course, we've got the first part of their flight model tuning, which is very, very cool. And one of the first things they've done is they've adjusted the simplified flight model that the AI use to more accurately match the human one, which is cool. Because apparently the F-18s, when flown by AI versus when flown by human, were acting totally different. So this is cool. They've updated the airflow cockpit sounds, which were always very good in the F-18, so I wonder how they've changed them. Small updates. F-16, of course, we get the WICMID, as I mentioned. Dogfight switch settings are now saved. This is interesting, because this is a bug that I discovered. If you go into dogfight mode and you then press the master mode buttons like air to air, air to ground, and so on, they don't work, which is correct. When your dogfight is an override, so the normal modes don't apply. But then when you come out of dogfight mode, it goes to the last mode that you pressed the button for, not the mode you came out of, which is incorrect. Right. The real aircraft will always go back to the last mode you were in, and apparently they've now fixed that, which is nice. And in the other one, another funny one, when you fired your last AIM 120, the time to impact number used to disappear, which is not correct. It now doesn't do that.
Right.
So, yeah, and a bunch of other smaller updates, which is nice. Target steering dot, cursor values color, contact and system tracks are changed, size and text, lots of smaller stuff. The Hind, as we talked about, has its brand new targeting camera, which is cool. Windshield wiper not moving in the outside view, important stuff. Test procedure for the ASP-17 has been adjusted. Yeah, nice little quality of life stuff.
I have to say, I don't think it's going to be long until we see the Hind being kind of feature complete, because it's a rugged and simple machine.
Yes.
And I mean, gotta hand it to ED. The as we said when it came out, pretty good release. For early access, there's a ton of stuff in there. So
absolutely.
I think it's just, it's mostly going to be bug fixes and, finishing off the last few things. So, yeah, that's how you release a module, quite frankly.
I would hazard to say that it's their best release that they've ever done. The A10 was also very good, but I think this is... But the A10 had some pretty serious bugs when it first came out, as I recall, some kind of weird bugs. One that always sticks in my head was an inability to start your engine if the wind was blowing the wrong way, which was a bit funny. The Hind, I think, has been their best release.
I'm just sort of thinking, I think you could be right. I think, in terms of a blueprint on how you do it, the Hind is really, Yeah. Sorry, I'm just... Marcus, how do you remember the A10 release? Because we're fucking old.
Yes. The A10 release was a very long time ago. I'm trying to...
True facts.
Yeah. Was A10... let me test my memory here. Was the A10 released in 2009 or 2010? I'm not... I can't quite remember.
Earlier, I think.
Earlier?
Yeah. Thing is, I remember the first A10 release. Like, the first A10 release.
2011. Initial release was in 2011. Because I think Black Shark was 2008, as I recall. So yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like I say, I remember the first A10 release, which was A10 Cuba.
Oh my god, that was such a good sim. That was such a good sim.
It was. It had an amazing flight model for its time. That was way back in the mid-90s.
And bizarrely, no, kids, gather round. Bizarrely, that flight sim was created by a little-known company called Bungie, who previously had made the first-person shooter Marathon, and later they made a game that you might have heard of, Halo.
Halo, yeah.
That was Bungie that made that, and it was really good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes back to... It was built on... Didn't they take it over from... Because there was A10 Attack.
Which was also them.
Was it also them?
They made both. A10 Attack and A10 Cuba were both made by Bungie.
Yeah, I mean, it had a... it had a really good flight model.
It really did.
Holy shit, did somebody in chat just call out Strike Force Harrier?
Someone just called out Strike Force Harrier on the BBC Model B. Back in the day.
That was my first flight sim.
Uh-huh.
Strike Force Harrier. Sorry, I've got it. Oh man, that's just brought back some memories. I think I still have it somewhere.
Do you want to know my first flight sim?
Go on.
F-19 Stealth Fighter on the Atari ST.
Hold the phone.
Hold the phone. Oh, he's going to show it to us. In his little collection.
It's not in my collection. It's in the box. I have a little collection of classic flight sims up there.
Yes.
But F-19 is not there. I do have, however.
Oh, what's he going to show us? He has Falcon.
The first one.
Yes. Nice.
The first one.
What platform is that one for that you're holding? DOS?
That's the Amiga. That's
the
Amiga.
Amiga. Ah, nice.
The Amiga 512. But nobody. Yes, F-18 Interceptor Amiga. That was on the Air, Land, and Sea pack for the Amiga, which had that Indy 500 and 688 attack sub.
Ooh.
Which, yeah. But nobody's commented on the thing that's sitting next to Falcon.
Oh, I don't think anyone cares about that. No one's interested in what that one is.
Nobody cares about that.
No, we're not looking at that. It's too sexy. You can't bring it out.
It's too sexy. I can't get it out. I'll get banned. For pornography.
Indeed. I can't remember how we got onto this subject. But
it's a good subject. Oh god, the original Microsoft Flight Simulator. Except it wasn't Microsoft Flight Simulator. It was Bruce Atwick Organization Flight Simulator. There you go.
The man speaks the truth.
It wasn't Microsoft Flight Simulator until the third version.
Third is what I remember. Yeah. The previous. Yeah. They basically bought him. That's what happened.
Yeah. It was like one dude by himself.
Yeah. It's very impressive.
Yeah. And didn't he also write ATP, the air transport pilot?
I don't know.
Which was like, it was more commercial focused. And I remember at the time, I was like, oh god, this was still in the 80s. It cost over £100.
I think I actually remember that one. Is that the one where basically it just showed you the panel and you were just IFR flying? You didn't actually see out the window?
No, that was the 747 simulator.
Okay.
That I can't remember the name of. That also cost like £100.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Back in the day. Yeah. Jesus, when things. Oh man, no, it's a good topic to get on because we were kind of done with the newsletters.
Oh, true. Well, actually, speaking of newsletter, there is one last thing that we should cover, and that's like a little technical note. DCS World versions 1.2 and 1.5 and all products that had key protection are no longer supported and have been fully deleted from our servers. So that's something that people need to be aware of. Technical assistance and software updates from DCS Updater are no longer available for these deprecated versions. We strongly recommend that you make a backup and move to DCS World 2.7 to avoid a situation where you need services or support that is no longer available.
Wait a minute. That's a bit controversial.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know, like things like the old Hawk, was it still possible to download that?
It was. They maintained a branch just for the Hawk.
Well, it's gone now.
Ooh. If it's the same version, it might not be.
I would assume that Hawk was on 1.5.
Oh, so hang on, wait. Is this prior to 1.5? Did you say?
Versions 1.2 and 1.5 are deprecated and gone already.
Right. I'm just... Do you know what? I'm in... Oh, wait a minute. Like, you used to be able to find the Hawk on... Hang on, if I search Hawk... Hawk T1A... Alright, okay.
Oh yeah, you can still find it. I've got the page.
You can still find it, right, yeah, okay. Alright, yeah, okay, and it's a much higher version, right.
Oh, okay, this is actually not a big issue. So
yeah, this is not a big issue. Okay, it was the 0.5 that was throwing me because I was like, hang on, wait a minute, is that the Hawk? But it's 1 point. They're talking about 1.5.
Yeah.
Who the hell is still?
Yeah, because even the Hawk, the Hawk works in 2.5.3 apparently.
Yeah.
So not a big deal.
Dear God. Okay, that goes back a bit. I mean, DCS World 1.5. Mate, that's like
A10 era. Back then, you would have had the Black Hawk and the A10, pretty much.
Yeah. And that's how we got into the subject. Was how the hell do you still remember the A10 release?
That's how we got into nostalgia.
That's how I can still remember the. Well, I mean, I can still remember the flanker release, the first flanker in like 1990 or something like that.
No. It was a bit later. It was a bit later.
Was it a bit later?
Yeah.
Flanker 1?
Yeah, Flanker 1 was a bit later. Yeah, I'm going to look this up now. That was an absolutely fantastic game. Like, I played that so much. 1995.
1995, okay.
Published by Strategic Simulations, developed by Eagle Dynamics, and directed by our man, Nick Gray.
Shall I bring out the really sexy thing?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Please do.
It's been sat there.
Yeah, we were waiting for you to notice. Digital Integrations... Tornado.
The original.
I never played this version. I only played the Desert Storm one.
For the Amiga. So this is the original. This is the first one. And it had the sexy gold embossed box. I mean, that shit's expensive. Like, let's hang on. Check this out.
Oh. We're getting the contents. Floppy disks.
Oh, floppy disks.
In beautiful condition as well.
Yes, I don't. Now, children, this is what things came on before the internet.
Now, dotChuckles has not gone insane and 3D printed a bunch of save file icons. Those are called floppy disks, children.
Yes, this is why your save icon looks like this. What have I got here? Jesus. Oh my God. Right, I must have saved some games, right?
Oh.
But I didn't have blank discs, so I saved it over PC format, Cubasis.
Oh my. Didn't you want to make music?
Well, it's the demo disc. And I think I saved it over PC format's demo of Football Glory.
Probably a good move.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing was, what made flight sims special back then was something like this. The manual.
I still have my Falcon 4 manual, which is one of my greatest things.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning manual. Now, the thing that I remember about DI's Tornado was the mission planner was amazing.
And was it not the case that it was either... Was it not based on the actual desktop planning software that the Tornado pilots used? Yeah.
It was. In some ways, the mission planner in Tornado, anybody recognize? I don't know if you can see that.
Just about.
Just about. Doesn't that look familiar, ladies and gents?
Yeah.
It's because Wags rates Tornado as one of the best flight sims ever made and was a big inspiration for DCS.
Okay. High praise.
So, I think he nicked a couple of things out of Tornado.
Well, as you should.
But in some ways, the mission planner in Tornado is better than what we have now.
Yeah.
For example, Exhibit A, you could get... Where is it? Welcome to the Chuck Leafs Through a Book stream. So you probably can't see, but your waypoints, you could specify overfly points and things like that. Which you can do in DCS. But what this did was, if you put in your ground speed, it would calculate the radius of the turn.
Ooh.
Just like the real desktop mission planner that the Tornado pilots used. And you could put things in, you could have your AWACS tracks, you could have, your cap areas, all this kind of stuff. It was all in the mission planner. In many ways, the mission planner for Tornado, this is what, 1992, is better than what we have now.
Yeah. What I really want to see is, whoever does it, I don't care who, but if you take something like Combat Flight, which is a really good mission planner for DCS, and add DTC support for all the aircraft that really have DTC, so F-18, F-16, Harrier, etc. That would be so cool.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the quick start guide in Tornado. And it has an example of how you can use your Thrustmaster FCS joystick if you were a fucking millionaire, because those things were expensive. And it still has...
Oh, the map. And you could actually... It was proper map that you could use grease pens on.
You could use China graphs on it.
Yep.
So that's the training map. And I had Warzone 1, Warzone 2, and Warzone 3. So there's a game coming called Tiny Combat Arena.
From a little-known company called Microprose.
From a little-known company called Microprose. Which is very much looks like the spiritual successor to Tornado. And even... There we go. I even had a little advert in here. I've still got it. For Amiga owners.
Oh my.
Introducing the DP IBM analog interface, which let you plug in... it made total sense why it would be packed in with this, but it basically was a little conversion card that let you plug in your PC analog joystick into your 9-pin connector.
Yeah.
In your Amiga.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Very cool.
This is a very cherished box.
Yes. So I hope you're all entertained. I recognise we've gone completely off the rails, but this is there's not that much going on this week anyway, so this is important stuff in my opinion.
I'll bring next week. I might, if it's still fucking deathly quiet in the news, I might bring out another classic box, which is B-17.
That was a good one. I like that.
Microprose.
Also from Microprose. I really liked that game. I played it a lot. I played it a lot.
I've had this sat up here,
hoping you would all notice.
Yeah, just as a little Tornado tease.
Yeah, it's not a tornado.
It's not a tornado.
But also, really sad. Well, in some ways sadly, in some ways not sadly. It's also not a Gripen, and I really wanted a Gripen. A Gripen E would have been awesome.
But we're getting a Typhoon, so, we can't complain.
We're getting a Typhoon, and also, actually, to be fair, the JF-17, which I'm doing my current series on, is pretty much the same as the Gripen E. Like, they're very, very similar aircraft. The Gripen is probably slightly nicer, but the GF-17 basically does the same job.
Yeah. So, just to go back to a conversation we were having offline about the Mosquito, because obviously this is the big, the kind of the news this week.
Yes.
The Mosquito pre-order. How do we feel about more World War II aircraft in DCS?
Well,
I mean, this is like could be a controversial topic, but I'm kind of like, why? I love the Mosquito. I love the Spitfire, very nice, but it just seems we've got a lot of World War II flight sims, right? Including a couple of really good ones, but we've only got one modern air combat simulator.
Yes. Well, allow me to make the counter argument. So the owner of DCS, or their publisher, or whatever you want to call them, is the Fighter Collection, who happen to have a bunch of World War II aircraft in working order. That's like their primary thing, that they maintain and fly these World War II aircraft.
The Fighter Collection.
The Fighter Collections. So I suspect it's part of their mission to bring these aircraft to as many people as possible. They have the original machines, they can provide access to them, they can take all the measurements and whatnot. And I'm guessing that this comes more from the Fighter Collection than it does from Eagle. That they want to have some World War II aircraft. And it definitely seems like, it's not like no one's buying these. There is a market for these. People like this stuff. And people do fly World War II stuff in DCS. I don't. Like, for me, it's sort of an irrelevancy because I don't really buy the World War II aircraft and I don't really fly them. But I still like the fact that other people can. Like, I'm glad they're there, even though it's not something that particularly interests me. We're getting some comments in the chat.
Yeah. This is kind of why I wanted to just drop this hand grenade into the room and see what happened.
Yes. Some people will like the World War II stuff and modern stuff all in one place, says Stevie B. Variety is the spice of life, Chuck.
True, but I want to know how ED divide their resources, because there's still big elements of modern day stuff that's still pretty broken in DCS and has been broken for years.
Air traffic control,
since
ECM,
all that kind of stuff, and it's like, okay, I get it. There's demand for it.
It makes money.
But it's like, is it taking away resource from things that should be fixed and should have been fixed a decade ago? And should be giving us, and like I say, when there are things like IL-2 out there, it's like, look, this you're competing in a pretty big market. Concentrate on what is unique about what you do, and what is unique about what they do is modern air combat. Nobody else does it.
Yeah.
So it just seems like, yay, I guess, but it's
Vulcan.
Interesting comment. What?
Vulcan. When are we getting our Vulcan API?
Oh, Vulcan. Yeah. Vulcan. Yeah. Money is made on new modules, not fixing old stuff.
Yeah.
This is true. This is absolutely true up to a point. And that point is when your engine gets so broken that you can't run the modules on it.
Yeah.
Now that's not what's happening in DCS. The DCS engine is very good, and it's, but if they let it deteriorate, because all they've done is make new modules. Not only that, the community's goodwill only goes so far. I would invite you to watch a great video by a chap called Crosscheck or XCheck on YouTube called DCS A Beautiful Mess, which he made not long after the F-16 release, was it?
I've seen that video, and yeah, I think you're right.
Where and actually the video caused such a stir that it also changed the way the Eagle Dynamics interacted with
the community.
The community, yeah, you know. In fact, there was a mass unbanning because it was basically, you know, yeah. One of the things he called out with was how Edie related to the community and spoke to the community, which in the bad old days used to be like, you gulag.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, modules make money, but the thing is the core of your the core of your sim has to satisfy. And there's a few things in it that are kind of like, I'm just like, yeah. Like, I have to admit, I've been flying DCS a lot less because there are things in it that continue to just annoy me and are like, well, this isn't good enough. This is still broken. Why are we still like this? Why is the environment still sterile? Why do I have to spend 200 hours in a mission editor just to get a world that, you know, actually feels like it's got people living in it? And, you know, it's just kind of like, guys, you need to be concentrating on the core. And this focus on World War II that's going on, it seems like, yeah, cool, like, nice, great, but other people are kind of doing it pretty well. You do one thing that nobody else does, maybe concentrate on that. So anyway, that's my unpopular opinion.
I think, you know, I would agree with pretty much everything you've said there. One thing that I'll provide in Eagle's defense is that they have been making some kind of quality of life improvements recently. Like, a couple of things that jump out at me is they did at last, after having this bug for many years, fix the fact that the AI go defensive immediately, even if there's no way they could have detected your missile. Like, they always know when they've been fired on, even if they couldn't possibly know.
Yeah.
That was fixed just a few weeks ago.
Like, absolutely. There are things. Yeah, there are the right noises being made. But then I've been on the Eagle Dynamics train since the mid-90s.
Well, yeah.
And I've heard all those noises before. I remember in the 2000s, they were talking about a new air traffic control engine.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I didn't realize it'd been going on for that long.
Yeah, we've still got the same air traffic control engine that we've had since Lomac.
Oh, yeah. It's basically the same as back
yeah.
then. Yeah.
And yeah, they've made those noises before, and all we've seen is, oh, so you can do a case landing at the carrier.
Well, see, that's I was going to mention that actually. The carrier comms are an example of the next generation ATC, and they've mentioned this in their newsletters. So really, what they need to do is to take the tech they've developed for the carriers and deploy it to the land-based airfields, and I think that's what they're working on now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is an example of more realistic. Although even that isn't finished. When you look at the supercarrier module, they still have to implement the separate frequencies and the separate positions, which they haven't done yet.
Yeah. Infrared targeting, for example.
Oh, yeah. That's a biggie. That's a real biggie.
It is not fit for purpose.
No, not at all.
Infrared imaging in DCS right now is pointless.
Yeah.
Utterly pointless, because it doesn't work in any way, shape, or form like real infrared imaging works.
It's just a texture.
Yeah, it's a texture. In fact, it's not even that. It's it's basically an adjustment layer over, over already rendered. It's just like, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
And they've been talking about that for years and years and years and years. And they say, oh yeah, well, we're working on it, and it's blah blah blah. And it's like, you know what? Even back in Flanker 2 days, you were talking about things that never happened. So
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. So it's like, yeah, again, I get it. Like somebody says, Nick Grade wants warbirds, DCS makes warbirds. Totally. I just think it's a really bad steer for them.
Yeah.
It's unless there's some marketing data out there that says 70% of people fly warbirds in DCS, and actually we're the weirdos flying this sort of runt of modern aircraft. I've not seen that data.
I think we are weirdos, but not because of that.
Yeah, it may be out there, but like, I can't see DCS selling for the warbirds. Maybe I'm wrong.
I agree.
Anyway, there we go. I just thought I'd chuck that out there, see what happens.
Yeah. I think let's finish that segment with the comment from Frantic. More people willing to pay for Tornado.
Tornado.
So
I would pay for that. Yeah.
Yes, I would pay for a Tornado. I would pay a lot for a Tornado. DCS F4, says Tog. F4 would be nice too.
Supposedly happening.
Yes, I heard something about it, but who's making that one? I don't even remember.
No idea. In fact, it might be an in-house. It might be Eagle Dynamics themselves. Yeah. But it was kind of teased, and it was talked about.
Yes.
Around about the time the MiG-21 was around.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, someone was working on it. I've actually just done a quick search there, and I cannot find who it was, so I don't remember.
Yeah, it seems to have gone all quiet. But oh my god, yes, the F4J, the UK version, because that was totally a whole different aircraft. We actually put real engines in it as opposed to 2 fucking hair dryers.
Are you trying to be, hurtful towards our American friends?
Facts are facts.
Yes. Let's not mention the UK version of the Apache with the Westlin engines.
Yeah, you mean the far superior version,
which has better countermeasures
and better avionics.
Yeah,
and a more powerful engine. Yeah, I mean the F4J they had to make it fatter to actually fit the engines in because they were just monstrously powerful. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
It was a great aircraft. Still, hang on, wait a minute. That's is Germany still flying them?
Now you're asking.
Are they still flying?
The RAF is certainly not flying them anymore.
Somebody's still flying. I'm sure somebody's still flying F4s, like
in limited service.
Yeah.
Iran flies them.
Jeez. Ugh.
Iran is flying them. German Air Force retired theirs in 2013. So not Germany, but Iran does fly them.
Because they quite upgraded them actually. They upgraded them. Like their avionics set was like quite advanced. Like and I seem to remember somebody was talking about doing an F4 in the 2000s, like late 2000s, and it was like, no, you can't do it because it's classified.
Yeah.
And it was like,
chat is saying that Japan also still flies the F4. Although
Japan still flies
not
them.
For much longer. Yeah. Frantic asking, doesn't Iran have their own homebrew jet now? They've been showing off an aircraft for the last few years, but most informed commentators think it's basically a fake.
It's a plywood mock-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and the
They make all kinds of wild claims about it. Yeah, and
so, I'm just shots fired. Got the job done in Namchuck. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. They were getting shot down in their masses, and until they trained their pilots properly, then it got the job done.
yeah, it's true.
They were getting shot down by MiG-19s.
That's not great. And could it be anything to do with the fact that we don't have a gun and our pilots aren't well trained?
Yeah. And then they went, oh, hang on, let's actually properly train our pilots and give them a gun.
Yes.
And then suddenly you had somebody who became an ace in a day. Like, that's how revolutionary that training was. Because you had catastrophic losses amongst the A4 from really previous generation fighters. And then you send them off for their training, and then he came back and he splashed 5 aircraft in a day after he was trained. Yep. That just shows it's not the machine, it's the person in it. You know,
was he a Top Gun?
Well, yes, he was, because it was the start of Top Gun.
Yes,
and that's what turned around the F4 as being a capable platform. It is absolutely not the aircraft. It is what you put in it. Well, I mean, stop with Camel against a MiG-21 probably wouldn't go down too well, but you know,
probably not. Probably not. I was also thinking, sorry, just one last comment about the Iranian aircraft. Some of the images that were released, when they were analysed, people were saying the cockpit is too small. You couldn't put a person in it. So it was clearly like a drone or a reduced scale model.
Yeah, and it did look dodgy. And I mean, people sort of said unfairly the same thing about the new Sukhoi that Russia has showed off, and I don't think it's the case that it's the same thing, even though it's not yet a real aircraft.
Yeah,
that it was a mock-up of something that is actually, you know, a proper, you know, it's going to be a proper aircraft. Whereas I think the thing that Iran showed was, maybe not. Yeah, you know. I mean, it's like
they do a much better line in explosive drones.
Yeah,
apparently,
and plywood aircraft carriers. That was the other one. They made a mock-up of a US supercarrier out of wood, like for training purposes. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. The checkmate talk. Yes, that's exactly right. It's people have I think unfairly said that it's a paper plane, and you know the mock-up is all fake, and it's like I don't think it is. It's a mock-up. Yeah, it's not a real aircraft, but I think it's an accurate representation of a real aircraft,
of what they intend to build.
What they intend to do. Strange concept though, because they've clearly designed it to be an F-35 killer, but they can't afford to build it, so they're marketing it to countries that are already buying the F-35. Okay.
Russia,
I guess.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Hey, slow news week controversy.
Exactly. We're just going to talk shit when there's no news.
If there's no news, we'll just talk shit and be factually incorrect and star.
Yes, exactly. Cool. Well, I think that certainly covers what little news we had this week, and that perhaps covers everything that we were going to discuss.
Yeah, so, it's probably got me on a few no-fly lists as well, so
indeed.
There we go.
Well then, job done. So in that case, I want to do some shout-outs before we finish. As always, I want to draw a little bit of attention to the Virtual Air Force, which Chuck is very proudly demonstrating on his video feed. We have a link to our Discord in the show notes below. Please, if you have any interest in flying multiplayer in DCS, go ahead, click on the link, come fly with us if you'd like. We currently have operational 2 squadrons which have training and regular missions. We have an F-16 squadron and a Harrier squadron. We are going to be starting up an F-18 squadron, and it isn't impossible that we'll do some heli-hopper flying at some point as well.
Yeah, I believe what you were trying to say before your microphone cut out was F-18 squadron. Was that right?
Yes. Sorry, did my microphone cut out?
Yeah,
I apologise.
I think your gate is a little bit set too strictly. Yeah, and yeah, some heli hoppers, which is something I'm looking at, and generally, I think it's good to come along. We've got a nice little community. We've got a couple of people who are looking after the back end of that very well, and building out our Discord and our servers.
Got to look after your back end, Chuck.
Yeah, I know. You don't want a loose back end. So yeah, if you come along,
please do.
Yeah. Jasper's saying, was about to ask, I'll be a noob in the F-16, but want to be more pro and online. Well, then you would be very, very welcome, and our F-16 squadron leader will take you from being a raw nugget in the cockpit to being a killing machine in the air.
Absolutely. He will take you by the hand and gently show you the way.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it to come across like that. I'm sorry. But anyway, yes, there is a training program being run by the squadron leader of the F-16 squadron.
Yeah. So absolutely come and join us. Oh, well, that's great. Nice to see that you're heading over, Jasper. We'll look out for you and give you a welcome.
Nice. And you'll get to fly with wonderful people like myself and dotChuckles. And also, as always, please take a little look at this man here's channel on Twitch, dotChuckles. I wonder if you want to give a little update for your channel.
Nothing's happening because my life is work right now, hence why I've not been here for a couple of weeks. Too many clients, too much work. But yeah, I have plans to come back in the reasonably near future, and I think I'm going to time that around a couple of releases that are heading our way. So we'll see.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned, kids.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, go ahead and follow him on Twitch in any case.
Aye, yeah, because, I'm an affiliate, so it helps.
Yes, please do. Please do. And then, of course, as for myself, every Saturday I release a new tutorial video. Currently, we're doing the JF-17. Next week, it will be taxi, takeoff, bit of navigation and landing. Always followed by the DCS News, which is this stream you're watching right now. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment. It's a really big help to me and to the channel. Thank you very much. Big love, you wonderful, wonderful people. Fly safe,
Yes.
and we'll see you next time. We salute you, you beautiful people. Ta-ta.